take you to the broadcast of It's Time with Reverend Nathaniel W. Martin. Here's Reverend Martin.
All right, thank you, Dr. Blackwell. And let me say Hotep Habaragani to my Africana Studies colleagues and friends and seekers after the truth all. I know we have finished Kwanzaa, but the themes, the terms, the substance of it is things that we can use all year long. Let me also say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, but certainly never good night and never ever goodbye. And my name is the Reverend Nathaniel W. Martin. I'm the pastor of the New Life Institutional Baptist Church here in the city of Los Angeles. And we're located at 8916 South Main here in the city of Los Angeles, zip code 9003. And we are worshiping with our sister church, the Shiloh Missionary Christian Church, pastored by my friend, the Reverend Dr. Della F. Hollandness. And whenever you're over or think about us, if you're in Los Angeles or environs and we come across your mind and it's on a Sunday or Wednesday night, come by and look in on it. We start on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock with Sunday school, and then we go into our morning worship around 11:15, 11:20. If you get them out of the kitchen eating donuts and drinking coffee, and you know how that goes. Then of course, if we have a 3:30 service, we are in full swing. So come by, look in on us. We'd be glad to see your face in the place. Like I said, I've gotten past where I got to impose upon people, visitors, when they come in. I'm just glad to see you come by and be with us. I've learned the value of a bench member. God bless you and God keep you is ever my prayer. All right, this is a social justice offering, and as a social justice offering, we're not so much into the preachy, but we are into the application of the preachy. And we thank you and we thank God for you. Let us read our scriptures. Hosea chapter 6 verse 6, for I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offering. This is God speaking. And then one of our constant scriptures is from the book of Proverbs chapter 14 verse 34, where it says, righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. All right. And the last clause in Luke chapter 12 verse 1, Jesus speaking to his disciples says, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. And please believe me when I tell you the hypocrisy in our system of government right now is legend, as they say. I don't know if any nation has been more superficial and artificial than our current display or exhibition of government administration. Finally, I'm going to put in with the book of Ephesians chapter 6. I'm going to read the two verses 11 and 12, and then we shall see what God will lead us to. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of this world, against spiritual that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. No, you're wrestling against systems. You're wrestling against a matrix. And the powers are more apparent now, because you got Elon Musk, and you got the David Sachs, and then you got Jeff Bezos, and then you got Mark Zuckerberg, but then you got all these others that are out of sight, but their power is being wielded at the same time. You got government now by billionaires. And do you have $1 billion you can loan me? I can't loan you $1 billion. You can't loan me $1 billion. But you know how much money $1 billion is? That's a million. And so these fellows have waxed so wealthy that they can now buy countries. They can now buy governments, and which they always bought governments, even back during the J.P. Morgan and the Andrew Carnegie days. They've always bought the government, frankly, going all the way back into antiquity. But the apparent way in which these oligarchs, as they are called by some of our intellectual brothers and sisters, now wield their power and authority with impunity, as if to say, what you gonna do about it? What can you do about it? It's amazing how power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So Lord Acton's quotation is still applicable in our affairs, in our government affairs, in our society, because that is our society. We are affected by our society, and we must take that into consideration, and we must renew our prayer life and keep up our prayer life, and be aware that we are not in this thing alone. Like I said about the J.P. Morgans, remember, even under Abe Lincoln and President Ulysses S. Grant, there have always been speculators, scammers, scamming on the price of gold when it was on the gold standard. Which way is the price going to go, and can we get the president to give us a heads up so we can run out and buy or sell our gold, depending on which way that the president is sending the market. That's one advantage that all of our politicians have over even the people on the stock exchange, that they set the price for commodities. I know, in other words, if I'm a politician and I'm in a committee meeting on Monday and I know that the price of soy is going to soar on Friday, well, now you think I'm not going to get on the phone with my man or my woman and tell them buy more soys? Oh no, I'm going to take advantage of that. That's what you call insider trading. It's against the law. And they've known, well, they've tried to get that rooted out of the system for years, for generations really, and it hasn't never worked because the people in the government set the prices. They set the price in committee. They get it voted on, and in the assemblies or the legislatures, and that's it. And so these type of things concern honest people. Not that I'm that honest, but I've tried to do right. Never been rich, but I've tried to do right. But we are on the horns of a dilemma in this country because we have an unelected billionaire in the Oval Office, who with his little bitty son, I think he has 14 children, is conducting the affairs of our government. He's unelected, but he's making decisions that affect our lives. Finally, Congressman Jamie Raskins has come forward with a solution so that we can submit a Freedom of Information Act to protect our privacy, and we can send that Freedom of Information direct to the Department of Government Efficiency, so-called, and demand that they show to us or reply to us, let us know what are they doing with our Social Security information that they have been looking at. A woman in that department over the Social Security Administration, I'm talking about, her name is, her last name is Flick, F-L-I-C-K, and she has issued a 13-page declaration to the judge of the Superior Court there in Washington to stop Elon Musk and his employees from just running roughshod over the Social Security Administration. Ironically enough, the Social Security Administration was started way back in 1935, and it's a big story with that, how the Social Security came into to be. A woman named Frances Perkins, whom Franklin Delano Roosevelt wanted her to work within his administration, but she had turned him down for a long time. Then when he became the president, I don't know what wasn't the first term, but let's see, you had the Great Depression in 29, and then he's gets elected in 30, and then 35, of course, he's in his second term, and he was able to get her to come and work in his administration, but she told him that the thing that she wanted to do, and he acquiesced, was that she wanted to start working on a program to provide money for the people, old age people like me. See, I'm 77 now, can't work no more, don't nobody want to hire me. They didn't want to hire me when I was young. But now that you're old and you can't do as you once did, you still need an income every week, every day, every month, every year, in order that you may get by. And her idea was that the workers, as they work, would pay into a fund, and they call it Social Security. That's how Social Security got started after the last Depression, with all these soup lines. They call them Hoover shanties, Hoovervilles, where the white folks had to go down to the soup line every day because there wasn't no jobs. The stock market had crashed just like it's crashing now, and all people had jumped out the windows and jumped out to commit their suicide because they had no more money. I'm talking about the rich folks, and that type of thing. And there were no jobs. There wasn't nobody hiring because didn't nobody have no money. And it was in this type of circumstance, that Frances Perkins came into the Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration. And I've already outlined what she wanted to do. And also she wanted to get, they call it universal health care, but she wanted to start that way back there, before 1935. And Roosevelt consented. But then Roosevelt had to deal with the realities of politics, which was that the Southerners did not want any kind of program, government, federal or state, that would benefit, for lack of, well, what we would call Negroes, colored people. They did not want any kind of program that would benefit colored people, because if you could make as much money from the government by staying at home, then the southern plantation owner could not get you to work on their plantation. And that's how they were ruling the South. Ever since it had been turned over to them in 1877 with the Hayes-Tilden Compromise, and the North had simply said, we're going to let you Southerners take care of the Negroes. And I hate to use the word Negro, but that's what it was, when they wasn't calling us the N-word, which is more the norm than the exception. So at any rate, Frances Perkins really is a woman that was responsible for starting Social Security. She had sense enough to know that mama and daddy, grandmama and grandpapa got to have some income, if they done worked all their lives and can't work no more, because you was working kin to can't during that time. You started working as young as you could, and you worked as long as you could. You was working in old age, just like we doing now. We still working kin to kin. We can't stop. We got so many bills, and the prices of things are going so high that you got to find some kind of income to enable yourself to keep going. That's the despair that a lot of us are feeling now. You can hear the commercials saying that you're going to have more life than money. So when you run out of money, what you going to do? And this is a dilemma that a lot of elderly people like myself are waking up to, is that the money in the bank is getting lower, and the prices of commodities, and then if you own a home, your house insurance and your property tax is steady going up. And but where's your income coming from? So these are the realities that we are dealing with in this country. And what Franklin Roosevelt called the security was that, in other words, you have some income so that at least you'll have a little bit of Social Security in your old age. And of course, Social Security was never meant to make you rich, and God knows the way they administer it, they definitely don't want you to make sure you're not going to get rich. And then on top of that, you've always had opposition to Social Security. The powers that be never wanted the elderly to survive once they got through their working year. If you can't work, it was a slave mentality that set in. Said if you can't work, you can't eat. And but you don't want to throw grandma and grandpa out on the corner simply because they got too old to work anymore. Anyway, now in this 2025, remember the Social Security was started in 1935. And I forgot to add that for the first 20 years, in order for Franklin Delano Roosevelt to get Social Security passed, he had to agree with the Southern politicians that they would not, I repeat, would not allow colored people, or Negroes as we were called at that time, to have Social Security. And so now, you got old age, you got workman's comp. Well, no, the Southerners was not buying none of that. And they told Roosevelt, if you want, it's a great program, but if you want us to support it, you're going to have to make sure it don't go to the Negroes. It doesn't go to the colored people. And so Roosevelt had to agree. And so my point is that for the first 20 years, from 1935 to 1955, black people, Negroes, whatever you call them, were not allowed on the Social Security roll. Yeah, you could work, Work till you couldn't work no more, but you wasn't going to get no Social Security benefit. And in the 20 years between 1935 and the issuance of the first checks to Negroes, a lot of backroom deals had to be struck that appeased the Southern Dixiecrats, and because they were the chairman of those committees, like what Maxine Waters is chairman of now, management and budget. Well, the Southerners had seniority during that time, and you had Rankin, and you had Bilbo, and you had Russell, and you had Eastland, and they were Dixiecrats. I mean, they were arch segregationists. What Donald Trump is now is what those guys were then, and they did not want to see any benefit flow to any person that was non-white. And so that's the reality of the birth of Social Security. And the problem is now that they still have wanted to kill Social Security. Now that's just going to show you how the devil works. He works in the background. You know, what does Paul said? We war against what? Principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So they've been working a long time. And finally now they have the ability to kill Social Security. And yes, they're going to kill it. They're going to kill it this year. And you and I are going to have to not only write our senator, because our congressperson, because it looks like our congresspeople ain't got no backbone other than Mr. Representative Al Green, who got thrown out the other week for standing up and in the State of the Union and telling Donald Trump he did not have no mandate to cut Medicare and cut Medicaid and cut Social Security. And don't be misled when the Trumpites and Mike Johnson and all that crowd say, well, no, Social Security is never mentioned. No, because what they're doing very subtly is the committee that oversees Social Security is being defunded. It's like what the Bible says they did to Jesus. After they crucified him and then sitting down, they watched him there. They didn't kill him, but they immobilized him where he couldn't help himself no more. And then they watched him, and that is what that's analogous, I should put it that way, to what the Republicans or the GOP is doing as it relates to old age and as it relates to poor people. They're cutting SNAP. They're going to cut, which SNAP is all of that food stamp program. Ain't gonna be no more food stamps because the Republicans are cutting those programs. They have the ability, in other words, to stop the people and to lay off the people. Just like on Monday, they didn't fire them, but they told all the people that worked at the Department of Energy that there was a problem, a security problem, and don't come in. They locked the building, and the building been locked up all week. Well, now if you can do that, which is what he did, Donald Trump, he locked up the building. It's been locked up all week. Well, now where do the people go? And I think they laid off 1,300 people that worked in the Department of Department of Education. All right, thank you, Brother Josh. 5 minutes. So let me wrap this up here. I never did get to read. I've got this lady's declaration that she filed in the Supreme Court there in Maryland. And like I said, her name is Tiffany Flick, F-L-I-C-K, Tiffany Flick. And she was one of the high administrators in Social Security, and she was worried that with all of these people hired by Elon Musk coming into Social Security who had no clearance, they had not been vetted, but yet they want to look in all of the Social Security numbers. They want to go into all of these records that they ain't got no business looking at. She makes a compelling case. She says it's a chaotic environment. The risk of data leaking into the wrong hands is significant. And she filed this with the federal judge there this past, when was that? On March 6, 2025, in Valparaiso, Indiana. All right, so now, I told you the history of Social Security in brief. Told you who started it. Told you the opposition, what they didn't, who they didn't want on Social Security. It's always black folks that they plan to hurt, hoping that they can keep us from getting any kind of benefit. And don't take this lightly, because what they're doing with Social Security, they're also doing with the Veterans Administration. They have fired. They have actually fired 80,000 veteran employees, Veterans Administration employees. Those people work in the hospitals, they work in the clinics, they work all over the Veterans Administration, and they keep things going and humming. And when you lay off or fire those kind of people, a lot of them are career people, and they know how the system works, and they work the system so that it works for us. You get your Social Security check on time. And one of the examples I use is that Elon Musk told them to turn off the telephones, Social Security. And normally your wait on Social Security is between 12 minutes and 30 minutes. Well, now it's going to be an hour. But fortunately, a judge told them they had to stop that. Couldn't do that. And a judge in Maryland and a judge in, I think, Connecticut told Trump that they had to rehire 19,000 of those people that they had summarily fired. We still are a nation of laws, even though Trump doesn't follow the law. And so I know I'm giving you a whole lot, but this is what you're wrestling against. Principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And so don't sit down. Please be prayerful, because your enemy is after you. He's after your money, because once I cut your money off, I got you where I want you. And this phase of government is going to have to be called in question. And you're going to have to get on your Congress people. We got 2 senators from California. You got to get on them. You got representatives from California up there in Washington, including Maxine Waters. What's his name? Schiff. He wants to run for governor. All of those people, you're going to have to write them, tell them they need to do their job, stand up to these injustices, and don't let Donald Trump just run roughshod over your paycheck, because you need that paycheck to live. I'm calling it a paycheck. Yeah, because you paid into Social Security, and in other words, what they want to do is take what's left. $1.5 trillion. Trillion is way above a billion. A billion to make 1 trillion. And that's what they want. They want to get their hands on that pot of money and put it under the control of the stock market, or privatize it, like George Bush tried to do way back yonder. Okay, I'm out of here. Remember, if you're working on a job, God bless you. And amen. If they don't want to pay you, take my advice while you're still young and can walk away. If they don't want to pay you what you're worth, please do not work for them. All right? God bless you. We out of here. Love you.